Hi, we're the Grimms. I'm Veronica, and I'm the founder and chief glitter officer of Glitter Cat Barista.
I'm Eric, and I'm the Director of Positive Outcomes at Glitter Cat. Glitter Cat Barista is reimagining the coffee industry through competition, community engagement in events, and hospitality programming. We provide support, training, access to resources, and mentorship for marginalized hospitality professionals, including BIPOC, LGBTQIA+, neurodivergent, disabled, and persons of marginalized gender.
I created Glitter Cat in 2018 after I took second place in the United States Barista Championship and felt a responsibility to address the lack of representation on coffee competition stages. Since then, we've hosted 5 training boot camps and 2 national preparation boot camps for 49 coffee professionals of marginalized identities competing in the U.S. Coffee Championships. 21 of them have qualified for nationals, and 2 have made it to the finals of the U.S. Barista Championship. We were so excited to be able to press repeat for the 2021 U.S. Coffee Championship season.
And then the pandemic hit. Suddenly, there were no coffee competitions for the rest of the season. Then there were no coffee competitions for the rest of the year. Currently, it's the 15th month of 2020, and we don't know when the hell there will be coffee competitions again. We were happy with what we had accomplished up to the beginning of 2020, but we were also exhausted. I was personally ready to take a very long nap.
But I wasn't. Even with most of us at home, the coffee industry still needed Glitter Cat. Marginalized folks needed opportunities to network, learn, and compete. It was time to reimagine what community and competition looked like. So we came up with the Digitition.
The Digitition is our socially distanced digital competition, which we initially created as a stopgap for the US Coffee Championships. The concept was simple: 36 competitors in 6 competitions mirroring US Coffee Championships. Barista, roasters, brewers, tasters, latte art, and coffee and booze. We would provide all of the coffee, equipment, training, access to resources, mentors, and a stipend to compete.
We'll take you through how we built our own large-scale coffee competitions from scratch from our own home. We'll share the challenges we faced in putting it all together, what worked beautifully, and what needs improvement. And we'll tell you why at-home coffee competitions are essential for the future of this industry, even after the pandemic.
We started off with a team of coffee pros who were excited to design these competitions and the event as a whole.
What was clear immediately is that we wanted this to be an opportunity to challenge the bias inherent in existing competitions. We took a close look at the classic rules and regulations of competitions. As a team, we dove into what we liked and what we did not like about the competitions, and the biggest shift was that the competitors got to define professionalism. This challenged judges and viewers' often whitewashed, male-centered perspectives of professionalism, and gave us more impactful, powerful, and creative presentations. It showcased the beautiful individuality of so many of us.
With the competition rules and regulations set, the next move was hyping the competition and beginning the selection process. Boss Barista's Ashley Rodriguez led the selection committee for the second year, and in order to encourage more applicants, she and Veronica recorded a conversation about who should apply and what makes a successful application. Applications were slow out of the gate, and leading up to the final week, we weren't sure if we'd even have 6 applicants per competition. And here is a big tip we've learned about registration for events and how to make yours as big or as full as possible.
Build in a deadline extension. A deadline now extended through the weekend nearly doubled our applications for the Digitition. Many of us are last-minute workers or need a final push to toss our hat into the ring. We ended up with over 150 applications. It was a tall order for the selection committee to choose which 36 would get to compete.
Once the selection process was completed, we had 36 Digicats from all over the United States ready to show up and show out in our own competition. The easy part was over. We want to share with you now how to ask for help and get and stay organized with this new style of event and competition. The only way the Digitition happened was because of the coming together of literally over 100 people. From creators to organizers to shippers to judges to competitors to mentors to sponsors to our cats, the list is endless. We put out a call for help and a lot of people raised their hands.
And much as we have been successful at planning and executing in-person events, we are not video editors. I still can't figure out how to do Instagram Reels or TikTok or whatever the cool Vines are up to these days. Eric learned how to do some editing on some videos, and we also hired and paid a full-time videographer. Know when to ask for volunteers and when to pay for creative work, and always have a budget when requesting work. How do you get coffee, equipment, and swag from over 30 different sponsors to 36 competitors and 15 judges all across the United States? Spreadsheets and volunteers. We created a shipping spreadsheet that was unique to each sponsor with all the necessary information to send equipment to the competitors. By giving them their own unique sheet, it helped minimize problems. Competitors also got an individual competition kit checklist, and each competition kit was created and mailed out by a super volunteer, Katie Hatch. We knew immediately if anything was missing and could find a replacement or track it down. Thank you, tracking numbers. I had to adapt everything I had learned over 2 years of putting together boot camps to organizing sponsors to send coffee, espresso machines, grinders, water filters, coffee brewers, and all sorts of stuff to these competitors. The biggest challenge would be getting 6 Rancilio espresso machines and 6 Malcona grinders to the barista competitors, and then having them send those machines to the latte art competitors, all during election month in the United States.
While Veronica was triple checking how many cupping bowls got sent to a roaster's competitor or a taster's DigiCat, I was mapping out our social media plan. It was important to us that this competition series was fun to watch, and it showcased each DigiCat to the best of our ability. With consulting from Umeko Moteyoshi and help from our designer Kelsey McCombs, we came up with an Instagram grid and schedule that would help us organize and distribute content from 2 competitions a week for 3 weeks. Viewers could follow along in multiple ways. They could watch 2 to 3 minute highlight reels featuring the best parts of the competition routines on IGTV. They could watch recaps on our Instagram stories and feed. If they really wanted the full competition experience, they could watch the complete routines on our Vimeo page. Of course, all videos had to be subtitled.
We were ready for the competitions. The rules were made, the DigiCats were selected, the competition kits were sent out, and the media plan was created. So how could this be more than simply a coffee competition? How could we reimagine the purpose of competitions on an even more intentional level? We worried that there would be a lack of community from socially distanced competition, but we found it was just different, and many Glitter Cats created the same strong bonds that previous Glitter Cats had made at their in-person boot camps.
Veronica wrangled 20 instructors, including 9 US coffee champions, to give online learning sessions, while 13 former Glitter Cats returned to mentor the DigiCats and gas them up in preparation for competition. Each competition had 1 online learning session, 2 training sessions, and each DigiCat was paired up with a mentor.
We realized something uniquely special about the digitition was occurring when we saw 5 Glitter Cats from different cohorts in different years safely gather in Atlanta. In every program Glitter Cat does, we want to focus on building community through competition and hospitality. Having online learning and training sessions that were recorded for access afterwards that included competitors and judges was a big step in breaking down barriers in how to do well in a competition.
Before we knew it, it was the end of October and time for the first video submissions. Our first huge challenge came that week. Once the digitition started airing, the response was wonderful, and our audience and likes stayed consistent from week to week. But we ended up facing an obstacle that we had never anticipated and quickly had to manage: shadow banning.
Whenever Eric and I shared any content from the digitition, our story views, video views, likes, comments, and shares on both of our personal pages and Glitter Cat pages plummeted. We had to stop sharing on our own personal accounts and encourage others to keep up with the competition and like and comment on all the videos.
No surprise, since we were doing this without a playbook, a lot of other things happened. Our biggest takeaway here is stay flexible, be kind to yourself, and perfection paralysis is a real thing. Flow with the issues that arise, find unique solutions, and know that if something goes totally wrong, that's okay.
Some issues we had. A roaster competitor's freshly roasted coffee exploded in transit. Luckily, 2 of the roaster's judges lived in the same town, and one was able to bring half of their coffee to the other.
The rules and regulations were still a bit too technically focused. Finding the best coffee person is inherently subjective, and we realized we hadn't weighted creativity enough in these score sheets, so we get to change that for next time.
There were significant delays in getting espresso machines from baristas to latte artists, and some were damaged in transport, meaning replacements had to be quickly sent. One latte artist didn't get their machine until 3 days before submissions were due for the rest of their cohort.
In general, we hadn't given ourselves enough time. From competitor submission deadlines to air date on Instagram was less than a week. So we and our video editor were often working 15-hour days to keep up with the tight deadlines we had created for ourselves. Planning out space is so important. Because this was initially intended as a stopgap for the US Coffee Championships, some of the competitions were too close to Coffee Champs, and by the time the competition started, we were ready to tear most of them apart and start over.
From the moment the Digitician started airing, we picked it apart and scrutinized it, and talked about what we wished we'd done better. But mostly, we sat back and watched a lot of magic happen.
And we realized the Digitician was no longer a stopgap. In creating our own competition, we had discovered a new direction for Glitter Cat.
Coffee competitions are more fun and engaging for coffee professionals and enthusiasts when they're given the freedom to be themselves. And what's more important is that they are inherently better for the industry when it's free and easy to participate.
The DigiCats got to compete in their own homes, and we got to work around their schedules. They didn't lack for community and solidarity from not being in person. They connected and learned, and months after the first Digitition concluded, they're still doing that.
Accessibility is essential to this industry moving forward responsibly and equitably. The future of coffee is those who will create sustainable supply chains and business models that give all involved the money they need to live and the dignity they need to learn and innovate. And so much of that often starts with the connections they make at industry events.
So here are our key takeaways. Number 1, challenge what you know.
Number 2, be transparent about how to apply and what you're looking for.
Number 3, ask for help and know your limits.
Number 4, be accessible.
Number 5, build community and break down barriers between competitors, mentors, instructors, and judges.
And number 6, stay pivot ready. The Digitician was 100% free. The ability to compete should not be tied to a person's financial status or ability to travel away from home. If you want to have an accessible and well-attended event, work with sponsors and find other avenues to fundraise. But that's a presentation for another time.
The new guard of coffee professionals shouldn't need to constantly rail against the gatekeepers who deprive them of the opportunities they deserve. They need to learn, compete, and come together on their terms. And we need to stay creative. We are in the middle of literally putting 100,000 stickers on 4,000 scratch and sniff competition boards for our next event. The still free scratch and sniff competition, the Sniff-itition.
An international phenomenon that's goofy, fun, challenging, and is showing us that we can still find community and joy when we take time to challenge the status quo. We'll keep doing Digiticians even after the point where we can safely meet in person again. We'll meet folks where they are at and give them free and fun opportunities to stake their claim in this industry. We believe in fierce belonging, trustful transparency, and a whole lot of good, chaotic, colorful queer energy.